Penguin Random House Audio presents The Late Bloomers Club by Louise Miller. Read for you by Emily Rankin. For my sisters, Brenda and Lisa. Prologue. Freckles would have smelled the change in Peggy Johnson before her car slammed into the town's oldest white oak, but the window on his side had been rolled all the way down, and the air out on Pudding Hill Road was thick with the scent of the fresh cow manure the farmer had spread over his kale field just that morning. Peggy had woken up before dawn like she did every day. She drank a single cup of black coffee at the kitchen table while she read the paper. Then she tied an apron around her waist to protect her house dress from grease stains, and got to work mixing the batter for a 1-2-3-4 cake. Once the last traces of flour had disappeared into the thick paste of sugar, butter, eggs, and vanilla, Peggy released the beaters from the body of the hand mixer. She held them steady for Freckles. "There you go now," she said as he licked the beaters clean. By the time the cake layers came out of the oven, the sun had burned off the morning fog. Peggy pulled on her hiking boots, their leather cracked and worn, and loaded up the back seat of her car with cakes she had decorated the night before. 4 in all, 3 layers apiece, each frosted with yellow buttercream, pink flowers piped along the edges. Peggy tucked a couple of bunched-up blankets around the boxes to encourage them to stay in place. "We'll drop these off, then stop at the White Market for more sugar," Peggy said, opening the back door for the dog. "I bet the butcher set aside a few stew bones for you." She reached down and scratched behind his black, velvety ear, which made his back leg kick. "When we get back, I'll take you down to the pond to cool off. Feels like it's going to be a hot one." Freckles settled on the back seat as Peggy rolled the windows down. They drove up Pudding Hill, the dog stretching his neck out as far as he could, enjoying the warmth of the sun on his cold nose and the rich scent of mown grass. His ears flapped back as the car picked up speed, and his tags tinkled like the mobile made out of mismatched pieces of tarnished silver that Peggy had hung on the eaves of the back porch. Freckles was dreaming of rolling in the manure-caked field when he heard a gasp. He pulled his head back in to find Peggy slumped over her steering wheel as the car picked up speed. Freckles stood, sniffing the air around Peggy. With a crunch, the car struck the wide trunk of the old oak that marked the property line of the farm. Freckles' thick black body crashed against the back of the driver's seat, then ricocheted back, slamming against the cake boxes before sliding onto the floor. When he came to, the scents of blood and sugar mixed with gas and butter flooded his snout. The chime of the open door echoed across the field, punctuated by the sound of falling chunks of shattered glass. Freckles pulled himself up, placed his 2 front paws on the leather seat, and sniffed the back of Peggy's head. She was leaning back, one leg hanging strangely out the open door, her clean dress now covered in bits of soft yellow cake, and her snowy hair streaked with frosting. From across the field, the farmer shouted. Freckles climbed over the seat, his body stiff. He leaned over, whining as he licked Peggy's face. He nudged his head under her hand lying splayed on the seat, a surefire way to get Peggy to pet him no matter how tired or busy she was. But it remained still. The howl of a siren rose and fell in the distance. The farmer was approaching, his gait shifting from a walk to a hobbled sprint. Freckles' hackles stiffened and rose to attention as he pawed at Peggy's still body, pressing the pads of his feet into the familiar softness of her belly. "Mrs. Johnson!" the farmer cried, now a few steps away. Freckles slid into the back seat, slipping on a greasy cake box. The sirens grew louder. The farmer was at Peggy's side, frantically shouting her name. An ambulance turned off the state road onto the dirt and stopped abruptly. 2 men leapt out, running toward the car. Freckles slipped out the open window, keeping his body low. He took one step into the woods that lined the road, then another. Behind him, he heard the rumble of men's voices, followed by the sound of car tires kicking up rocks. Freckles stepped deeper into the woods. And then suddenly, he was running. Chapter 1. Some people dream of diner life. Others are born into it. It was my dad's vision to own a little breakfast and lunch place. He bought the original Worcester Lunch Car Company diner number 723 the year I was born and lovingly restored it to its original glory. Sparkly aqua formica counters and tables were paired with oxblood Naugahyde stools and benches. Buffalo china cups and plates stamped with the Miss Guthrie logo were special ordered. He polished the hand-stamped chrome backsplash that lined the wall separating the counter from the kitchen until it gleamed. He even managed to find replacement tiles for the black and white basket-weave patterned floor. It was my mom's idea to add on the dining room out back, and then to extend our hours to include dinner so we could serve enough customers to actually make a living. Together, my parents created a successful business and a place for themselves in the heart of the community of Guthrie, Vermont. I was born into it. As a baby, I was placed in a high chair next to the stack of styrofoam takeout containers so my mom could work the hostess stand. When I was steady enough to sit on a stool, I spent my days at the counter drawing pictures with crayons on the back of paper placemats. During my middle school years, I ate cereal in a little two-seater booth in the back, cramming for math tests and finishing assigned reading before the regional bus honked its horn outside. When I turned 12, my dad finally relented and allowed me to work the cash register on weekends and school vacations. I took over my mom's hostess shift when I was 13, the year she started treatment for breast cancer, and have been behind the counter ever since. Every day at the diner was pretty much the same, until Peggy the cake lady died. It was the first week of August, the Wednesday after the Coventry County Fair. July had been a brutal month of sticky heat that had the folks of Guthrie escaping to the glacial waters of Lake Willoughby every chance they could get. But when August arrived, it brought with it the kind of dry, sunny days and crisp nights that made everyone's heart ache with the desire to stop time. The corn was tall and heavy. Glossy red and purple heirloom tomatoes were piled high on the farmers' market tables. The late summer days were the ones we all lived for, the reason we endured the long snowy winters and the damp, muddy springs. I arrived early that morning, as I always do, before the bread man delivered his plastic pallets of English muffins and loaves of sliced sandwich bread. I got there even before Charlie, the breakfast cook, who sleepily pushed through the back door and into the kitchen to heat up the griddle and crack the first flats of eggs. I propped the door open behind me so the fresh air could chase away the lingering scent of last night's dinner special. That hour before anything begins is my favorite time of day in the Miss Guthrie Diner. Don't get me wrong. I love the hustle of a busy breakfast shift when every Naugahyde stool is filled and the line for one of the booths stretches out the door. But there is a magic to that hour when it's just me, wiping down the counter, placing napkin-wrapped cutlery and paper placemats at every seat. There's a stillness that reminds me of being in the woods, where everything feels right in the world. The quiet lasts only an hour, of course, usually less. On that day, it had taken just 5 minutes from the moment I had switched on the dining room lights and turned the window sign to open for the counter to fill with regulars. Some came in pairs, mostly guys who drove to work together. But the majority of regulars arrived alone, reading the Coventry County Record while eating their French toast, knowing if they wanted company, they could find it. Mom always said it was our job to take care of the morning people of Guthrie, and to make sure the people who served the town, the school bus driver and the folks who plowed the roads, had a good start to their day. She saw the diner as a kind of utility, as necessary as the dump and the post office.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?